You seem to have forgotten that I am a woman.
Okay then, well let's step it up a notch then.
It's a very confident stance.
Did I ever tell you my theory that if a woman's dancing with two hands over her head, she's a slut, and if a man's dancing with two hands over his head, he's gay?
I think we've tested that theory in real life, and that's 100% true.
I know. I find myself being gay when I dance. I'm like fighting both hands from shooting up at all times.
Keep one on the mic, one on the top of your head. Oh man, I'll turn this down so we're less flaily with our arms, I guess. All right, are we good to go? We recording? I'm gonna spark this joint. Gracias. Thank you. All right. Welcome back to Haus Haux, everyone. I am your host, Ani Moush. Thank you again for coming back and listening to the last 7 episodes. I'm hyped, dude. This is keeping me accountable. Laura's here. Hi, Laura.
Hello.
And today, our guest, friend, comedian, podcaster, overall hilarious human and dad and husband, Sidney Gantt.
Thank you very much. I am a hilarious dad.
You have 2 podcasts.
Yeah, I'm on 2 podcasts. Well, I mean, one and a half. One in a secret podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have 2 Jack Bros, and then I have Stoner Dads.
Yeah.
Which is, we do whenever fate aligns it to happen.
Yeah. That's the way it should be. That sounds how that podcast should go.
One time I was doing shrooms at home, and it started to become like not a good trip. And I think it was when the first Stoner Dads came out, and I put it on, and it like brought me out of it. I was
Oh my god,
that's amazing.
I was like, it's people that I like. They were cool. They're my friends. Like, I don't know.
That's awesome, man. That is the best thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
friends, for calming me down out of this crazy time. That's awesome. Laura and I always talk about the different dimensions that we've gone to.
Yeah. That's funny. That first episode of Stoner Dads, I was on mushrooms.
That's so funny.
That was all we connected.
Yeah.
That's sick.
That's awesome. I love connecting brains like that, Oh, man,
Yeah.
so much fun. Well, very exciting. Welcome to the podcast.
I am very happy to be here.
Yeah, dude. Here, you want to... We need a joint
Throw
assistant.
that back around.
Thank you, joint assistant. This is your turn. Yes. Okay. I wanted to have you on because we met, I don't know if you remember when we met, but we met on my birthday in Philly at Helium.
Okay.
It was a night, and we were in the back, and you had come back to, like, use the bathroom or something.
I do that.
And you happened to be there, and you had said something about your podcast, and then I remembered 3 days later when we were still hungover back in New York, and then I was like, wait, that guy Sidney was really nice, and I think since then you've been on a bunch of podcasts here at Too Much Content,
Yeah.
and we've been like back and forth to Philly a bunch, and it's been really cool.
I remember that. I remember that. That's the night I think I met all of you. For the
Yeah.
most part. Yeah. And
Yeah.
It was ridiculous walking into a room with that much ambition. It was fucking sickening.
I mean, I went to Helium 3 different times. It was
Yeah.
a month and a half of my life.
Of ambition.
Yeah.
Great nights.
Great nights, and I'm happy that we met because every time that you've come over, I think you've said like a nugget of wonderful truth that's been very inspirational.
Hell yeah.
And I very much appreciate that. And
Man, can you let me know those things? Like I'm just
Oh,
a conduit. I don't I say these things. Like I don't know what the hell's coming out of my mouth half the time.
Feel like
Okay.
God speaks through me.
Yeah. I'm
Right?
like
There was-
please tell me what I said. I need to change my life.
oh my God, no, it's always great. This one time you came over and it was for a podcast or something, I don't know. And you asked if you saw our studio, I think, for the first time, and you were like, "Are your parents proud?" And like that just meant a lot for someone to ask. And you're like, "As a dad, I'm really proud of you."
Oh.
And like my dad says he's proud of me. It's not like my dad doesn't say he's proud, but it was just cool for another dad to say that, you know, because like your dad kind of has to whatever. But it was cool. That was the nugget. And then you came over to do Sam's podcast, Bucked Up, and there were several things that you said that like that stick with me. So one of them was that you and your wife Ainsley decided that you guys were, I forget how many years ago, but you said you don't complain anymore. Or you try not to complain anymore.
That was like 11 years ago now, close to 11. It was right before my son was born.
Will you tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah.
I thought that was a really cool thing.
I just noticed that I felt like I was magnifying every issue that I felt like I had in my own world. And, I just, my Ainsley and I were talking about it, and she kind of like set me on a path to get my shit together 10 years before that.
Oh, wow.
And by just telling me to stop feeling sorry for myself one day. And it was like, it hit me really hard because I was absolutely feeling sorry for myself.
Yeah.
And she said that, and I was like, yeah, why don't I just stop? And making that conscious decision.
Sorry. What did that look like? Just so that.
Oh, I hit her a bunch. It was like, you're right, but fuck you. How dare you disrespect me in my dorm room?
Okay, so valid. Yeah. Okay, cool. I mean, like, there are plenty of things that you could be getting your shit together on, but like, okay, cool.
Well, no, so I was gonna quit college at the time, and I just didn't. My method of just sitting in class and just absorbing the information and then crushing the test wasn't working in college.
I hated people like you in college.
Well, I wasn't that in college. I couldn't do it. I felt broken the whole entire time. I needed to study, and I didn't know how to because I never studied before.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't study all through high school. So it was, I struggled with that. I struggled with my ego because I thought that I considered myself smart, and I measured that by how much I didn't have to study, right?
Yeah.
And then when I did have to study, I was like, oh, I'm not smart anymore.
Yeah.
And then there was a smart guy, like this one kid named Ahsoka, who just was an engineering major and just never opened a book. And he just got it, and he was correcting the teacher.
Wild.
Well, helping the professor.
Facilitating
the
class, essentially.
Like, he was a sweet guy.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, that's what smart is.
Yeah.
But I've learned to accept that there's a spectrum, and I'm on it somewhere.
Yeah.
I was just being a baby, and she called me out on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously that helped, and that changed your life in some way?
It did. It helped me kind of like see the direction that I wanted to go. And before, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life at all. Mm. And because of that, I was everywhere. So I wasn't secure in anything. Mm. And because of that, I was technically insecure.
Yeah.
And something I learned from interviewing people on my podcast, like this guy Mike Rainey said it very specifically, that because he was talking about being poor, he was saying that you don't realize when you're insecure how much that relates to like low self-esteem.
Yeah.
Right. So like I was insecure, I had low self-esteem, and I just stopped.
Yeah.
It's easy to, like, when you don't want to be accountable, there's easy to find a bunch of reasons to not be.
Yeah.
And I didn't have direction, and I didn't want to be accountable for having to find direction. Mm-hmm. Right. So rather than be accountable for finding direction, I just fought with everything.
Do you think that you are a lazy person?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
You don't come off as lazy at all.
Well, no, I'm just like very honest to myself about it.
Yeah.
Do
you find, like, I try to like work smarter, not harder?
I get stuff done.
Yeah.
I get stuff done, but a lot of it is like up against the wall, up against the clock.
I'm like that too, and I think it's because I have ADD, and but I didn't know until I was an adult, and it's really debilitating sometimes. I don't know. Is that an excuse?
I don't know. I think it's a personality trait.
I mean, because, for instance, we were talking before this podcast that I felt like when I started this podcast, first, it took me a year to even start this. Laura and I did the first episode fucking 3 times. And it was just, some of it was resistance. Some of it was me feeling insecure. And I didn't feel like I couldn't be accountable to myself. And I finally had to do it. And ever since I've been on this path of like doing it, it's made me more responsible in other aspects of my life. Do you feel like that, like your podcast does that, or something else in your life does that?
Yeah,
outside
I mean,
your kids and wife, of course.
yeah, that helps.
That helps.
That helps.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it all kind of helps, but again, like for me, I have to start with being very honest about a thing.
Yeah.
And accountability from the outside looking in looks impossible because it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is we tend to form these like our personalities around not having to be particularly accountable for anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to, I don't know, just embrace. I know if I try to avoid how difficult something is, I avoid it. I'm really good at coming up with reasons to avoid something in my own mind.
Me too.
Right? So I have to be like, if this is hard, I can do hard things. Let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I'm like in a constant state of like way too hype about shit because that's the only way I can get stuff done. I'm just like, this is fucking hard. Let's do hard.
Let's fucking go. Pay the bills.
Basically, that's how it has to be for me. I'm like redlining at all time. So
have you ever had to teach yourself how to relax?
No, that's why I'm lazy. Because it's
I feel like I'm redlining a lot, not a lot, but like there's fucking run a business and shit, and there's a lot of things to be accountable for. So like I feel like that way sometimes too, where I perform better up against the wire, but then I feel like I'm just at this constant state of hype, and I want to be like working on my shit too.
Yeah.
So I need to like learn how to relax so that I can like do shit for myself.
Well, see here, so it's funny that we're having this conversation. So one of the questions that we ask on the Patreon of my podcast, because we ask a set of questions on the regular podcast, on the Patreon it's a different set of questions that are the opposite of the questions on the free episode.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of the questions is something that isn't the same, but people see it as the same, right?
Yeah.
So right now, what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Our different versions of being up against the clock appear the same from the outside.
Yeah.
But if you take one step inside, right? Because you're up against the clock because of all this other work you're getting done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm up against the clock because I'm in my shed getting high watching Netflix. Right? Until I finally have to just like get up and just go. Like it's like I swear to you, it's like it must look insane to my neighbors. Because like they'll see me like saunter into the shed, just like like willy-nilly, and I'll be in there for like hours, and then all of a sudden I just bolt out of the shed and run into the house.
Bro,
like,
this is my shed. You're in it. Okay.
Yes. Fair enough. Nice shed.
Thank you. So well, that's cool. I'm glad we're on the same wave there. So we haven't even touched on you're a comic.
Yes.
How long have you been doing comedy for?
Wow, I want to say like 17 years.
17 years.
Yeah.
Did you always know that you wanted to do comedy?
Kind of. I always thought that I wanted to do something that entertained people.
Mm-hmm.
I loved stand-up comedy. I did. I always wanted to be a stand-up comedian, but I didn't believe it was possible. I didn't know that people became stand-up comedians.
Yeah.
So it was like, it was one of those where growing up, it was like I already wasn't a stand-up comedian, so how would I ever become a stand-up comedian?
Yeah.
So I'll just follow whatever track of education I'm told I'm good at.
Yeah.
And see what that does.
That's how I was kind of taught,
the
regular ABCs, you go to school, do all the things and all. I always thought that entertainment was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And like I always thought behind the scenes of that was cool. Like when I tried to guess the end of plot lines. I still do that all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just like the act of writing a script, I think is really cool. But I never thought that I would like be able to do that for myself.
Yeah, I have so much. I only have
Grab me water.
anxiety when it comes to movies and shows,
Yeah.
and I have so much plot anxiety that when you just said I try to guess plot lines, my butthole puckered. It was like, no, don't know that. It's
I can't. My brain's broken like that, dude. Like, do you want a water?
Oh yes,
Yeah,
please.
here you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, like for instance, I guess I do this a lot. I do this often in shows, but especially because the show every season has like a general plot line. Anyway, so you kind of see where it's going. But I do it a lot in movies too, and I always get really hyped if I like guess it right. I do it right before it happens. I'm like, this is about to happen. Like right.
I have to stop shows because there's too much tension. I will
Really?
stop a show and then come back the next day.
What's the most recent one that you had to stop?
Stargate SG-1 when so I watch a lot of sci-fi, and so I'm watching season 10 of Stargate SG-1 when Colonel Mitchell goes to the Aleutian Alliance,
Okay.
and he's pretending to be another person. But the way it works is you poke somebody and inject them with this chemical, and then you tell them who you are, and their brain sees you as that.
Oh.
But all the other people that are not injected with this chemical, they still see you as who you really are.
Yeah.
And he's impersonating a person that not a lot of people have ever seen, except for the guy that he poked. But then people keep showing up.
Oh, fuck.
And every time they're like, another person showed up, I'm like, stop. Like, I can't handle this. I can't handle it.
Oh my God. We just finished all the Marvel movies, like all the Avengers and all of the things. Dude, I guessed a couple of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the worst. I'm the fucking worst. Why is that? Okay, my camera's not working. Okay, weird. And anyways, so you've been doing it for 17 years.
Yes.
And what was was it your wife also that at that moment that helped with your path line? Did it happen at the same time, or did you know after she told you gotta get your shit together, then later on you figured out like I'm gonna do comedy?
I think all of it.
Oh.
I think all. So it was. She said that while we were in college. We graduated from college. We moved to Texas. I went to a comedy show that was like a comedy open mic because I wanted to try it, but I wanted to go watch first.
Yeah.
And she went with me, and she told me, she encouraged me to do it. And we were only by ourselves in Texas. We didn't have any friends or family at the time.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I went and did it, and I had a really good set, my first set. And that night, she was just like, if comedy is what you want to do, I'll have your back. I'll whatever it takes.
That's dope.
And yeah, it was exciting, and then we went the next week, and I fucking bombed so bad.
Yeah.
So I one time did this show where I bombed in this theater for this like charity event, and I kept cursing when I wasn't supposed to. That's not why I bombed. I bombed.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm just gonna fucking curse now. And but it was like for
All
like
in,
3,000 people, and it was one of these weird theaters that goes up high instead of out back it up, like So it was like you're in the fucking Coliseum and you're just bombing with people like looking down.
They
at
can
you.
literally throw tomatoes at you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that second time I was on stage and I bombed is still the worst feeling I've ever had bombing to this day.
Yeah.
And it was but yeah, she still had my back. And
Yeah, that's amazing. And here you are, 21 years later?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So you went to Texas. You came back to where? You moved to Texas.
Yeah, we moved to Texas.
Okay. How long were you in Texas?
About a year and a half.
And then you
went to Pittsburgh.
Went to Pittsburgh. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been doing generally, like, have you been in Pennsylvania since around that time?
No, we went from Pittsburgh to Atlanta, and then from Atlanta back up to the Philadelphia area.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's where we've been for the last, I would say, 12, 11 years. So when we got back to Pennsylvania was when we were like, all right, no more complaining.
Yeah.
Let's just see. And she was also in a situation where she was in a work situation where she was getting overshadowed by a guy. And every step along the way, it was like, oh, here, the sexism is happening, right? And towards the end of it, it was like, how about if we just don't act like any of this is sexism? Let's just see what happens if you just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Step in and say what you want. Don't care about what they think of you being a chick.
Mm-hmm.
And she did that, and in that month, it completely changed how they saw her in the company,
Wow.
right? Because before, the reason why she was calling it sexist, so this guy was getting credit for a lot of the work that she was doing, and he was getting promotions, right? He was like a real sociable guy, and like lunch dates, dinner date kind of thing. But when it's a guy's, it's engineering was a guy's, it's one thing. She didn't want to be doing that as a woman, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, well, you gotta shine somewhere else, and because of the nature of your job, you gotta let people know that you're shining. You can't do it quietly in this industry.
Yeah.
And she figured out how to do that her way with modesty. Her own version of humility and shit.
Yeah.
And she figured that out. And but it was as we were leaving Atlanta. So she left that job. She went to a different job, and she just started that way from the beginning.
Yeah.
Right. And she came in, and it was almost like people just respected her as this established person, even though she was like young in the industry. And that was probably more the issue that people were having. Less than that she was a woman, more that she was just young. But going forward, just not complaining seemed to be the solution.
Yeah.
When we look back at exactly the baseline of what helped make everything go to the next step and then goes to the next, it was just not complaining. It was, you're either going to do something about it or you're not.
Yeah.
Right? So either do it or don't. But if you're not going to do it, move the fuck on.
Right.
So yeah, that was big for us. And you just get better at doing, like, I'm perfectly fine experimenting with my life anyway. It's like, what else are we gonna do? So this is also following a time when we literally got rid of all of our material possessions and started over.
That's amazing, though.
Yeah.
I've moved 5 times in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
It's awful every time because of shit, and every time I get rid of more, and I get rid of more, and I get rid of more, and I think it'll be so much easier the next time.
Yeah.
Fuck having stuff, dude.
Yeah, we emptied it out.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's nice
sick
to have things, cool, but, like, moving it 5 times really sucks.
It does.
I don't want... I just want to be in one place for, like, a long time and not have to worry about things.
Yeah, well, my wife grew up moving around a lot, and so did I. So, I mean, we're very... I mean, I wouldn't mind being in one place for a long time, but I don't mind moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just feels right.
I could adapt, like, if I had to do it.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have, like, be touched down somewhere. Like, before we moved to New York, I lived in Massachusetts my whole life, outside of 1 semester abroad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is cool to, like, be somewhere else and, like, do it on your own somewhere else in a different way,
Yeah.
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 Not in Massachusetts.
Not in Massachusetts, which it's fine. Like, shout out to everybody who still supports me from over there. It's cool, but New York is different.
Yeah, I mean, I like being in. I mean, locations. I don't really care.
Yeah,
I
it's just another
like
city
moving
is
in
different.
different houses.
Yeah.
I like the way different houses feel when you move in and adapt to a different house.
Yeah.
And like make it your own.
Yeah.
You kind of like the house is like it's shaping you whether you realize it or not.
Yeah. This is my favorite place I've ever lived because this is like the first place that have like dedicated space to work on my art. And it took a really long time to get that set up too, but I mean outside of like podcasting stuff, but and the things on the wall are mine or like I created them and like I'm just proud to be around them and put me in a good mood, So it's I don't know.
But that shapes you. I mean that strengthened your creative passions, like just having a room like this to be able to create. And I mean, if this is that room, so having this room to be able to create the things you want to create is of course going to strengthen your creative passion, which if you didn't have this room, I mean, I'm sure you would still have a creative drive, but the effort to create something would be so much bigger.
When your flow state isn't interrupted, it's obviously way more fruitful. And like to have a studio as an artist, especially when you have like so many different mediums, it's a like blessing to have it. Like I know not everybody has that opportunity. It took me literally almost 30 years. So
Yeah.
it can happen for you if it hasn't yet. But I mean, the goal is to have a dedicated one-day studio. You know, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, that was some of the stuff that Ansley and I kind of agreed on early in our relationship about what a house should be, right? It should be, a house should facilitate your hobbies and interests.
Absolutely.
You know, we have all this space in houses, and we just put furniture in them all. It's absurd.
Yeah.
You know, it's yeah. So we've always been like that the whole time we've been together. When we were living in apartments where, because we didn't have space, but we had all this weight equipment, this exercise equipment, like half of our living room would be a gym.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And that's just how we lived. We just and we were lugging weights, you know, in our moves.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have that space now?
Yeah, we have a sick room.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we have like a bunch of mats on the floor, like enough for us to train jujitsu, and then we have the weights. Yeah, it's the
That's
best.
fucking
It's the
cool.
best room on earth.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Do your kids have like similar hobbies and interests?
You know, they're physical.
Yeah.
You know, so that room is also kind of like their playroom where they can, like, you know, flips and like whatever they jump off of stuff, you know, because the floors are padded.
Yeah.
And then we also have other mats in the room so they can build on top of that so they can do more dangerous stunts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're building little stunt doubles.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, because we want our kids. So we were both really physical kids, and I really feel like having being a creative kid early on, and also having like a pretty high level of physical ability, gave me a different version of problem solving. Right. So you're like I'm really good at a bunch of different dimensions of problem solving.
That's awesome.
And you notice like people that didn't grow up being physical are kind of missing something when they are solving problems that involve people, right? For one thing, people are not really good delegators, right?
Yeah.
You know, because I feel like this person's motivated. I can rely on this person for that, and so on and so forth. A lot of people just rely on people saying, "Oh, I'll do it."
Yeah, or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and then they trust. They just trust that a person's gonna get a thing done, and it's like,
it ain't me.
No, don't get that person that job.
No.
Not that person, not that job. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm really good at delegating shit.
Yeah.
You know. So I don't even know why, but I just said that.
That's an important skill.
Yeah.
That's a really important skill. Well, we were talking about your kids, and problem solving and different dimensions and things. But being able to delegate, I had well, I probably still do. It depends. Irish can answer this question, but he's not in the room. I used to have a really awful control problem with I couldn't, in terms of I couldn't delegate. If there was a project that in any circumstance, through school, through work, whatever, I had to be on top of everything. And that caused a lot of unnecessary anxiety. If you're working on a team, you should be able to rely on your team. And if you can't rely on your team, then you need to pick a better team. You know what I mean?
Or you got to get better at getting out of the team what you need to get out of it.
Right. And understand what your skill set is. And it's also an ego thing. I think learning to loosen up and control, I had to be really reflective with what I was being egotistical about or insecure about, you know?
Yeah, so the process of not complaining really helped me deal with an ego thing.
Yeah.
Because when you're complaining in a situation, you're complaining about how the situation isn't the way you want it, right? And who just has the right to have everything be the way they want in the first place.
Right.
So every complaint comes from the ego, right? So, the ego be in the way for shit.
Yeah. I've been trying to meditate more and taking a step back. Why am I anxious? What am I being weird or controlling about or insecure about? And trying to practice that more throughout the day. Because I try to start the day that way. Doesn't always happen, but I really try hard at least 5 times out of 7. Yeah. But
if I had to say anything, because when I'm looking at the pattern of the ego getting in the way of something, it always seems like there's a perception that people want other people to have of them, and they're more. That perception kind of takes precedent in a communication situation.
Yeah.
Right. So what I mean by that, so if you tell me something I already know, I'll just listen to it.
Yeah.
Right. I don't care. You know, I don't.
It's like, thank you for that tidbit.
Yeah, because you might say it in a different way, right? Also, or you might say it, and then in that moment that you're saying it, it might trigger something that has never been triggered before because the overall context of the situation and that person saying it just never existed, right? So information can hit you different in different ways throughout your life. So, but also, if I attempt to make that person know that I know, it's only so they see me as a person that already knew. And what does that even matter?
Yeah.
Right? It's like,
who cares?
So that was just so if I now stop communication to let them know that I knew, I just interrupted communication, and I changed the whole entire dynamic of the communication now. Right? Because now this person is worried about offending me saying things that I might already know.
Yeah.
Right? When that wasn't my goal.
Right.
My goal wasn't to make them feel weird about saying that, but I can't help. They're a human being. I can't help how they process information.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, you know, that's superfluous. You just get rid of shit like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's so you see it in sports, like, you know, you're coaching somebody, and you're saying, hey, when you're in this situation, you got to do it. Like, oh yeah, no, I got to do that, I got to do that, and then they do it again, and they do it wrong. Like, hey, when you're in this situation, they get, oh yeah, you know. But it's like, how about you just fucking listen and let it hit you, and let that be another dimension of absorbing information, so that when you're in that situation next time, you're more likely to do the right thing. Right? Because it's like, you got to find repetition wherever you can get it from, like positive repetition.
Right.
Yeah.
Positive affirmations. And I think, especially working on so many things at once, it's just like constantly churning out. And if you're not saying to yourself, like, I'm doing a good job, like, it weighs on you, because like, you're expected to do your job, you know? Not everybody's going to say thank you, and it shouldn't be expected or anything like that. But if you're doing something that you're passionate about, like, you have to affirm yourself of that too.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times it's from the fun you get to have.
Yeah.
In making it. You know? Like, that's, like, it's really difficult to be having a great time creating something to me. Like, I'm doing a terrible job right now.
Yeah.
You know? It feels great.
Yeah. Like, I used to work a corporate job, and I loved the actual context of the work, but I never felt like I was doing, like, design work is never ending. Like, a design project will never be done. You can submit something. There will always be something that needs to be reworked, or someone fucked it up or whatever, because there's so many hands on it, especially in like big healthcare projects, which is mainly what I was doing. And it's just, you don't get to an end. So if you don't feel like there's like an end to your goal, you're just on this never ending loop. You know what I mean? So it wasn't fulfilling to me at all. But now, like, for instance, I get to work on podcasting, or I get to do some kind of like physical artwork or whatever. When it's done, it's done. And I get to like step back and look at it. And it's a good feeling, you know? Yeah.
I am prone to monotonous, repetitive tasks. Yeah. I love that shit. It is so calming and soothing. It's funny because, like, the way that I pursue comedy, you pursue it as it comes out of you, right? And the way that is, the way that I work best is in the realm of like genuine spontaneity. Yeah. Right. And so I have to connect with the material in a genuine way for it to work. Like I can't just, like, the words, like they're perfectly crafted jokes, yes, but like the words alone don't give them the oomph. You know what I mean? And but if there was a way that I could fucking automate that, I absolutely would be a hack, like a genuine, honest hack. If I can't figure it out, like, I promise you, I'm trying.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And I would just like rehearse it in the mirror all day long. I just like love it, you know?
Some people really do that, though. You know?
I mean, and I'm not mad at them, man. It's like,
it's so funny.
it's, you know, like for me looking on the outside, it's like, fuck, you fucking fucker, you figured it out. Or you got lucky that your natural way to produce comedy is also in line with something formulaic.
Yeah.
Like, you fucking lucky asshole.
Yeah, my brain doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it's insane. So, I mean, but for almost every other part of my life, I feel like somehow things, I wouldn't say automated. I mean, it takes maintenance, but I lucked out in almost every other aspect to have things kind of be automated, you know, except for like my creative pursuits.
That's good though.
It's not bad. I get all of my energy now goes to that. Like,
that's
everything
cool.
else is, yeah.
Can we talk about your recent opportunity with Theo Von?
Yeah. We had gay sex. When he is a tremendous power bottom.
Expected. That's so funny.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna sell myself short. I think it takes two to tango. It was fun. I got to open for Theo Von at 2 theater shows.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was great.
That's so cool.
Yeah, he's a really sweet guy. And
Yeah.
he ended up paying me more money than we agreed to.
Wow.
Yeah, when to book the show, like, he called me personally to set everything up.
Wow.
Yeah, he just got my number from the owner of Helium and just called me.
Good dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
He's the man.
amazing. How long did you have to prepare for that?
What do you mean?
Like, when did he call and when was the date that you had to perform?
Oh, so I think maybe a week.
Oh, wow.
Maybe 2 weeks.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow. How did you get connected with that?
He was looking for somebody that, so his people, I guess, contacted the owner of Helium to connect them with somebody that was capable of, you know, not doing a theater show and not being like disgustingly blue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's they didn't ask me to be clean.
Yeah.
But they specifically were like, we just don't want somebody just like being disgustingly blue.
Yeah.
Because I guess they probably made that mistake once or twice.
Okay.
And so I'm used at Helium. Like, they use me a lot for corporate shows.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's fun. It's like, it's decent money.
Yeah.
And then so when they get something that's like semi-clean-ish, it's like I'm typically the go-to guy.
Cool.
You know? So that's basically how that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I saw, we were like, you posted pictures about it,
Yeah.
and then like a couple days later, we saw that his special like went up on Netflix.
Yeah.
And then we watched it, and I was thinking of you. I'm like, this is so cool.
Yeah, that was
to know that this is all connected.
crazy, right?
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah, it was like so I'm not super informed about the comedy world or even the entertainment world for that most part. You know, I'm just like I just like making comedy.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I don't really care who's in comedy news and comedy gossip and who's dating who. I could give a fuck.
Yeah.
Right? So I had no clue
Same.
Theo Von was famous. He's like really famous.
Yeah, he's pretty successful.
That was so funny to me.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm like talking to him like he's like this guy that just started doing theater shows.
But he's like, he's a guy though.
Yeah.
He's still a person.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't know he was. I don't know if I would have reacted differently, but I'm glad I was the way that I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's you being you. You know what I mean? That,
Yeah.
I think people appreciate that at any level, you know, to know like what your genuine like first impression is, you know?
Yeah, I did learn though that like fame is inconceivable.
What do you mean?
Like it's just so much.
Yeah.
It's like you can't. I don't think even he has a grasp of how many eyes are on him.
Yeah.
You know, and how much. So he had us. The first night he asked us to come take pictures with him after the show.
Nice.
And we thought he just meant come on stage and take stage pictures. You know.
Yeah.
He meant come with me when I go with my fans and take pictures.
Oh my
right?
God.
I thought that's what he meant, but he has an opener that he travels with all the time, and his opener didn't go.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, I'm not gonna go either. But I think that's what he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next night he goes, hey, how about this? I just thought of this, man. How about you guys all come take pictures with me with the fans this time, so they can tag you in the pictures, and then we all get the tags. I just thought of that. I was like, you didn't just think of that. You said that shit last night, but we were fucking retarded. You know?
That's nice.
Yeah, it was like, so.
Yeah, that's nice. You didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
No, he didn't have to do that, and he could have been like, hey, I said that last night too. You guys are retarded. You know, he was nice about that every step of the way.
That's nice.
Right?
We love that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, that was fun. It was fun working with him. It was fun seeing how it's an effort. You can see it that he's making an effort, but he's not letting his fame change him.
That's good.
He's making the effort that it takes to still be a humble, giving, compassionate person. That's pretty fun.
That's important.
Yeah, he has to, by the way, because he relies on like his spontaneous, goofy thoughts to generate comedy, so he can't really start believing his own hype.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way to live. Like, be humble, you know? The Jantelagen, law of Janta. Stay humble. Thank you, the Swedes. I talk about this episode way too much on this podcast. Have you ever watched This Is Pop on Netflix? It's a docuseries.
No, I just thought you were just like rattling off IKEA
Let
furniture for a second.
me, pretty much.
All right, we got one of those.
I've probably talked about this 4 times, and I don't care because I'm about it, okay? There's a docuseries on Netflix about pop music. 3rd episode about Swedish pop. And I just very much admire how they just do their thing. Swedes are awesome, and they have something that's called the law of Janta, or Jantelagen, which is essentially like to be humble. And like that's why they're so successful, they think. Because they're humble people and they're like really talented, but they just do their thing. They just do their thing. They are who they are. They put it out in the world, and they're
Yeah, dude.
humble about
I
it.
think if more people did their thing,
Yeah.
people would be being more compassionate.
Yeah.
I think most people are afraid to be compassionate because they don't want to get taken advantage of, and they don't want to be seen as a pushover.
Mm-hmm.
So they're fucking douchebags. It's like it's not even on purpose.
Yeah.
They're just protecting themselves from getting fucked over.
And then I feel like, I've felt like this in my life, obviously. You get kind of pushed into a corner of like, this is what people want me to be, and this is who I really am. And like you were saying, like, once that clashes and you're like, this is who I am, not everybody's going to like it. It's like, it's jarring to a lot of people,
Yeah.
you know? So to get on like back to like, this is who I am, I don't know.
Yeah.
And more people need to be who they are is really what I'm trying to say.
I think so too, and I think in a way that's not a rebellion to the people that want them to be something else.
Yeah.
You don't have to always be rebelling
Mm-hmm.
to be who you are,
Mm-hmm.
right? I always found that really weird. I mean, but again, I was like, I was hit by a car, except for the weird concussion, so I was a weird kid, right?
Yeah. that was
So
weird.
I was like, I never felt the need to rebel hard about what I believed for me.
Yeah.
I was just doing it.
Yeah.
And people were like, no, don't do that. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And just like move on with my life and do whatever.
Yeah.
And people just like watch me like, is he just going to do whatever the fuck he wants to do? Like I used to have this joke that when I first started comedy, it was about how girls would break up with me for the same reasons they wanted to date me in the first place,
Yeah.
right? They would just be like, oh, he's so unique. He kind of like does his own thing. He's a free spirit. And then like 3 months later, like he's just unique. He's a free spirit. He just fucking-
He does what he wants.
He's doing his own fucking thing, you know. But I just never really.
Yeah.
I don't care, man. If you disagree, but my mom was like that. My mom was just like, ain't nobody gonna tell me who the fuck I, you know.
Yeah.
So it was just like, well, I can be a version of that. That's not all poppy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna scream about it. I'm just gonna do what I want.
Unapologetically.
Yeah.
Yourself. Yeah. I feel I was gonna I had on my list of things to talk about was like forgiveness, and that also being sort of like a part of letting things go and ego and whatever. But when, I guess that's a good segue, because when you're unapologetically yourself, how much do you have to like apologize for? You're just like, I forgive everybody because I'm going to be who I am.
I've been with the same woman for 21 years. I apologize a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, not even from like a hacky relationship standpoint, but it's like, you know, you're constantly finding the limits, or you're not finding the limits. How can I say? But when you're free, when you're both free, you know, it's and honestly, I don't even like, she apologizes too, and she doesn't have to, and I apologize, and I'm pretty sure I don't have to either. But it's I kind of sometimes you just gotta let a person know that you know that they are tolerating you.
That's
you know,
such a good way to put it. Yeah, and not even just in relationships, but I think that goes for like, you know, friends and family members too.
Yeah,
for sure.
It helps. I'm a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like I feel like like I have this ongoing like universal blank joke about myself. You know.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's like if it's like a playoff of the universal donor for blood.
Yeah.
Right. So like when it comes to having sex with girls, I'm the universal boner. When it comes to like telling jokes in any format, I'm the universal joker.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
It's like, yeah. When it comes to being like a solid boyfriend, I'm the universal bloker. I don't really have a great one for that yet, but it's like, but you know what I mean? Like I'm a great person to be with, because I'm like, you know, I'm understanding. I think I just lost myself in my headphones.
Oh.
Yeah, but I'm
Can
am
you
I
hear
doing
yourself
something?
now?
Yeah, I hear myself
Okay,
now.
cool.
Yeah, I don't like, you know, I'm easy to get along with, you know, but it's
Yeah.
also, I also come with a lot.
Yeah,
you know?
that's me.
Yeah.
That's me. And I told this man up front. Are you still losing yourself?
It's in and out, but I got it.
It's hold on.
Yeah.
Let me see that for a second. That part. How's that?
It's good.
That's good.
It's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Might have just been a little. Okay, cool. What was I saying? Something about forgiveness?
You told this guy up front.
Oh, dude, I told this guy up front I'm a lot, dude. I didn't seem like talk about things that look like they are something, but they're not. I was like, are you sure? I'm a lot. Say that to everybody. I always got to put the disclaimer. I can't ever say that I've gone into a relationship without the disclaimer.
Yeah, not me. They'll see it. They'll see it early and often. If they don't know I'm a lot, that's on them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. This is the first relationship, though, that I definitely was unapologetically have been myself the entire time. So that's cool.
It's pretty sick.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
pretty sick. So far, it's been cool.
Yeah, somebody you can grow with.
Yeah.
It's fun.
He's a wild boy, dude.
Yeah.
Gets in Facebook bans and fucking real person fights sometimes.
It's a passionate man.
But
That's passion.
as long as he's not hitting me, it's all good.
Is that true? Is there not a small part of you that's like, you find it sexy if he would just haul off and smack you one time? Like in the Victorian era slap? Like to calm you down from having the vapors or some shit?
I mean, I reserve that for like, you know, our other life, you know, our non-real life, where he can be aggressive. But in real life, I think that I know he would never hit me.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also know if anybody like tried to hit me, he would probably kill them. So.
Yeah, I feel like any dude that hits a woman isn't far off from also murdering a woman.
Mm-hmm. Of course, my cousin's calling me now.
It's like a gateway drug to murdering women. Like hitting women, you know, it's
I think he looks like he would murder women and sounds like he would murder women, but he wouldn't murder women in real life.
yeah, but like he looks like he would murder women in like a lure them into a maze type of way, where they have like, where each
in his
corner
garb
of the maze just
wearing
like
a
takes.
robe.
he's wearing a linen robe,
Cape.
a cape, and has a spear.
Yeah,
100%. Anyways, but I don't even know how we got here. We always come back here, but okay, cool. let me just make sure that there wasn't. Oh, last thing. Every week I try to do an accountability thing, which at first wasn't on purpose, but now I'm making it an on purpose thing. I'll make this like my one segment, I guess. Well, we had Moosh Manifest, so that will still be a segment. But our second segment, I guess, now officially will be like some accountability check. And every week at the end, there's like a project or something that I'm working on that I'm like, I'm doing this, look out for this, or holds me accountable for next time to like give you an update. And then I usually ask my guests if there's anything that they would like to be accountable for the next like week or however long. So I'll let you think about that while I do mine. Last time, so we were with Lori last time, and first of all, shout out to Lori, who gave us the best medicated treats. Those were fantastic. Woke up still high the next day.
I think I fell asleep sitting upright on your couch.
100%. Laura didn't make it home. She made it as far as the couch. It was great. I don't know if did we even do I don't think we even did accountability. So the time before would have been with Kevin. I don't remember what it was. I think I said that I was going to do running. Didn't do that. I will. I talked to you about that too.
Yeah, it's funny that you phrased it, do run.
I will go for a run.
Yeah, fine. I'll do run. It's like somebody was pushing it on you like drugs. Like you've just been saying no for so long. No, my mom told me not to do running. I'm not going to disappoint my father by doing running and end up in one of those running houses. End up in a track house.
To a lap moosh.
You hear about Ani? She's a trackhead now. I'm gonna do running. Don't do running.
I'm gonna do running, dude.
No.
Yes.
You have too much potential. You have your whole life ahead of you. Don't do running.
All right, I'll come up with a different one. Well, update on my coloring book that I'm designing. I said I was going to do 12 pages. I've done 10 so far. So we're on track for it to be done for the holiday season. Yay.
Hell yeah.
Very exciting. For those of you who don't remember, this will be my accountability thing. I'll do another page for the next time. Or I'll leak some sketch about it for the next time. I'm designing a coloring book. Every single page it's like an adult coloring book. Every single page I've drawn, and there's like a little
a little boner.
There's a little boner that will tell you about that page specifically, and it's in a particular order, but it's like mental health related, particularly for me, and that's all I'll say for now, because then I'll have to keep holding myself accountable. So I'm going to do one more page, and I'll continue to leak information about this for the next time. Is there anything that you would like to put out there into the ether and manifest that you're going to do?
Yeah, I'm going to... So I'm reading an audio. I'm narrating an audio book. Matt McCusker wrote a book.
Awesome.
And it's called Overlook, and I'm doing the narration for the audio book, and I want to get it all done this week.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was. I started it a little like a month ago when I had time, but then we had to find different mics, and that took like a week. So that took up all of the time that I set aside to do that project at that time.
Next time, let us know, and we'll help you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
We'll talk after this, but we can definitely help you with that.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get that done this week.
Cool.
And I also want to start to lay down, just like a plan to start recording some of these self-defense videos that I want to record. So
awesome.
Yeah, and I wanna like read and research on how to be the reason a woman has an orgasm. How to not just be in the room. You know what I'm saying? Before I would say that if a man is trying to sexually please a woman, he's probably gay, right? It's just a gay thing. It just seems It just doesn't seem manly. It doesn't when you say it, when you're like, I want to try to make her come. It's like, ew, what did I say? It's gross. Why am I trying to make a woman come? But it's like, but it's 2021, and my wife and I have been together for a pretty long time, and I just wanted her to know that I'm researching it. I will never implement anything it takes to make a woman come. I promise you. That is my Sidney Gantt guarantee.
Okay, perfect. So you're gonna record that stuff and you're not gonna make anyone come.
No.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Is there anything that you would like to plug for all of dem hoes into house out there?
Oh, I mean, just check out the podcast Two Jack Bros. That's all. It's all of my creative energy is being focused on that right now. Got some stand up coming up in the area. If you like stand up comedy, you can check out my website sidneygant.com. Just go to the calendar section. Don't look at any other page. I haven't updated it in a while. I don't know what it looks like. Just go straight to the calendar section. And I just started using it again, so I only have like a few dates at a time. I hate using that calendar.
Okay.
It's but I'm trying. That's another thing. Oh, I'll be accountable. I want to start putting my dates in my calendar on a regular basis instead of trying to have them all in my head and then freaking me out about missing shows all the time. I wake up at night like, did I fucking miss a show tonight? And they're like, they felt like I'm every night I wake up and I'm worried that I missed a show, and they're like, damn, he hot dogged on us so hard. I probably shouldn't even message him about it. They feel like I'm just so up my own ass that they won't even be like, dude, you missed this show. So I never get to actually find out. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Torture.
I was about to say that's nightmare inducing.
Yeah.
It literally is, because you wake up from that.
Yeah, I gotta stop doing that.
Yeah. So get a calendar, dude.
I have a calendar. I don't use it. I just like, it's one of my things that I allow to seep up to create like a self-sabotaging moment where I'm like, I just got to take a break from booking shows. I can't do this. I need to take 2 months off and get my shit together. It's too much anxiety. Comedy's hard.
How many shows a month do you do?
Depends on
Depends on
whether or not I'm using my calendar. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I mean it varies, but
yeah.
I would say like at least 4 big shows a month. Like
Yeah.
4 shows that financially help me out.
Cool.
And then every other free show that I'm willing to do. I don't care. I like doing stand-up comedy and making people laugh.
All right, dude. So book Sidney and also yell at him if he missed your show.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just like worried people are just gonna start hitting me up like, dude, you missed my show.
No.
It's a great way to backdoor me into doing their shows. Like people are afraid to ask. Like it's so funny because like a lot of the younger comedians in the area that do local like free shows and stuff, they're afraid to ask us older comics to do their shows because they think we're gonna be like, what the fuck are you gonna? Why would we do your shows? This would be a great way for them. Like Philly's a very scammy area.
Yeah.
They would much rather scam their way into me doing their shows than directly asking me. So this is a great way to scam me. Tell me I missed your show. I'll feel so terrible that I'll be like, please, I'll do any other date. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then once he's booked, be like, just kidding. I listened to you on Haus Haux, but great. Glad you're booked. Confirmed. Okay. Love it. Okay, cool. So you're gonna get a calendar and shit. Laura, what are your plugs and what are you being accountable for?
Well, plug just my Insta. I am Laura Shu.
Yeah. Keep talking to the mic.
Accountability, just getting through Skankfest
Into the mic.
next week.
Into the mic. This is the mic. Yeah. Yeah, the front of it. There you go.
Through Skankfest next week.
Dope. That'll be fun.
Oh yeah, I'd also like to plug myself as the single funniest comedian in the world that's not going to Skankfest. That's my
Dope. We can hang out.
That's how I'm gonna plug myself on all the gas podcasts I do this coming up.
Perfect. Well, have fun at Skankfest. Be safe and get back home safe and all the safe travels. All right, you guys can follow me at Ani_Moush on Instagram and Twitter. You can also follow my art page at by_Moush. Check out my website, animoushmedia.com. And I'll post on my art page my accountability things. So Anything that I do, sketches or projects that I have, like personal, I post there. Otherwise, y'all know where to find me, toomuchcontent.live. Thank you, Sidney, for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
We'll see you next week. Later, hoes. All right, thank you.